What's up guys, my name is Alex. Today the video on Genshin Impact is going to be a bit different than usual. I just want to talk about some of the ways that I feel the game could have been better and some of the things that I feel should be one of the priorities for the devs to work on and to improve, just to ensure that the user experience for players is going to be better, Now I just want to start by saying that first of all, I really enjoy Genshin Impact. I feel it's a really amazing game and that the world is very interesting and it's fun to explore. But like any game, I feel that there are some very easy improvements that the devs could do to make the whole adventure just much more enjoyable for the players. So I'm gonna list my points and hopefully some of you guys will agree and hopefully the devs will maybe one day address some of these, which I feel would be really good for the game. Now, before we actually get into this video, I would like also to hear some of you guys' feedback in the comments section of the videos on things that you feel you guys have been maybe frustrated about the game or things that you feel could be improved, things that you would like to see in the future. I think it would be nice to just get a discussion going on some of the cool stuff that the devs could implement for just to make the game even better for us, So the first thing that comes to mind when I play Genshin Impact is that the social aspect of the game is kind of non-existent. There is a little bit of co-op, but aside from this, the interactions are pretty slim. And it's not as enjoyable and as much. I feel like the full potential of the game is not used because of that. So my first recommendation to the devs would be to implement an in-depth guild system. Now, when I'm thinking of a guild system, I'm thinking of ways that a guild can level up and that with the use of the players, like let's say you have like 100 players in your guild and you can obviously all chat together and also you're going to have like daily quests, daily objectives. So you could pull some resources together to meet some requirements that would level up the guild, but also unlock talents, small buff bonuses that the people could get, 0.5% like bonus attack or bonus hit points or stuff like this that the players could level up the guild together. And I think it would make the whole interaction just light up, just like the game did. But no, seriously, I think it would just make the whole social aspect of the game much more interesting while having like big goals that the groups of players could work together as a guild. Now, one of the first things that actually happened to me when I boot the game is I went to the graphic options to try and customize a little bit the options. And I was extremely disappointed to see that there was no full resolution, full screen, borderless window game mode. So right now what this means is that if I decide to alt-tab or go to a different screen or something, my game is going to minimize. And this is very annoying to me. It's something I really dislike, and I feel that it's not very normal for a game in 2020 to not support this type of feature. Some of you guys might not mind as much, but for me, I alt-tab a whole lot, obviously because I'm a content creator. So whenever I record, whenever I stream, I'm going to alt-tab a ton. And I feel that having my game minimized every time because I do this is very, very tedious. So one of the other features that I wish the game would have supported would be to actually allow you to configure your controls, because this is what it's called, right? Configure controls. But then again, you can't remap anything. The option seems to be there, but the functionality of it is not there. So it's something that was a bit, I want to say a little bit frustrating for me, because there were some keys that I would have liked to just rebind to something else. And there were also some keys that I wish I could have just removed entirely. Like I don't want to right mouse button to sprint, because sometimes I'm gonna just do this by accidentally and I'm gonna jump off a cliff. So, so in my case, I don't really like this, and I wish that they would have supported like to rebind stuff. I'm assuming that it was possible before maybe, and that it caused some bugs, so they decided to log this feature for now. Who knows? Now, one of the other things that I would think would have been really cool would be to disable the HUD, the UI basically, to the interface, just remove it entirely, just like in the picture mode, which how you can do it. I mean, the game allows you. It would have been cool to actually be able to remove that when you play as well for users that don't really care all that much about the UI. And also, I feel just disabling the minimap could also have been quite useful. And this is a bit less important maybe, because you're gonna be like, why would you want to disable the minimap? And the main reason would be whenever you're playing with friends and you're kind of like, I don't want to say done with the game, but you just did a lot of exploration, you found your chest, you're kind of to the point where like you're just playing to have fun, and you decide to hold some mini games, whether it's tag or like hide and seeks with your friends just for fun. I think that disabling the minimap could have been useful for this. Now, one of the other option system that I feel was missing from the game is in regard to the field of view. I feel that you can't really zoom out of the character enough. I think just like a little bit more would have been really cool. And the most frustrating part about this game, it's clearly just like a limitation that they just made without allowing players to actually change that, considering that you can actually use to push it back a bit further using the picture system in game. So we know it's feasible because they allow us to do it here, but then once you play, you're back to lock this FOV, which I don't like at all. It's too close. Now, one of the things that I feel that they're kind of limiting themselves on their systems is the inventory load. I feel that 30,000 is a ridiculous number in the sense that it's going to be so easy to reach that if you're not careful and if you're hoarding materials. So I feel that this number is way too low. The game has been out for like nearly 3 weeks and I'm at half of this. And obviously I've been crafting a whole lot of food and stuff like this just to really bust through these materials. So I feel that this number is way too low and should definitely be increased drastically. Still regarding limitations to their systems, the front list has 45 slots limit. This number is super low. I don't understand why they would limit it to such a low number. So I really would like to see a higher front list cap. So I'm wondering, has it happened to you guys that you're either crafting or cooking or whatever and you actually start cooking something without selecting the right character? Like, why won't they just put you by default the best character according to whatever stat? I mean, it would still be better than cooking with someone that has no bonus, right? So I feel that this would be a small quality of life, just because sometimes like you kind of forget these things, especially like let's say I want to craft like a potion here. Okay, I'm gonna swap to this. Okay, cool. Then I craft it. Oh, great. Now I swap to like crafting a book, for example. Oh wait, this guy is gonna receive the bonus, so it doesn't even swap automatically. Like, you just have to keep remembering before crafting everything to always swap your crafter, and I feel it's a little bit tedious and often a lot of people are gonna forget, including myself. So I feel that I don't really understand why their system can't just automatically swap to the right character. So this next point is kind of, I have mixed opinion about the F1 adventure book, which you can use bosses from like the 2 regions that we currently have to track these enemies and to press navigate, and it's going to show you where it is. This book does not contain all special units. So these guys, which I personally call the behemoths, are not in there, which is kind of frustrating because I feel that they should be. And also there are other variants, like on this little island, for example, there's 4 rune guards there and they do not appear in this F1 book either. So obviously it does promote exploration, which is interesting, but at the same time it feels pretty inconvenient to have to mark them manually, especially when you have only 100 markers. So it is pretty annoying to having to, remember this. Now this brings us to our next point. You are only allowed to have 100 of these, 99 of these spin markers, which then again, you're like, well, 99 kind of feels like a lot, but at the same time, it really isn't in a game like Genshin Impact, where you want to try and mark a lot of the chests, a lot of the resource, like rare resource locations, whether it's like crystals or like specific ascension materials and stuff like this. So I feel that 99 pin is really not that much. Even for the 2 regions that we currently have, I think that at least double or triple that would have been much more useful. But then again, maybe it is another system limitation, or maybe they just overlook this detail. Now let's talk about the famous Resin System. So this system by itself, personally, I don't really mind it all that much because I understand that the purpose of it is to create an incentive for more casual players to come back on a daily basis and to still collect good, important rewards with just a little bit of gameplay. Now, for more mid-core / hardcore players that play the game a whole lot more, it is true that this system feels kind of limiting because you're not going to get a whole lot of value out of this in the sense compared to the rest of your day that you're going to be playing. Now, I feel that the devs could have been maybe a better job around balancing their progression through with this system, but also allowing players to increase the maximum and also how fast it refills, either through adventure ranks or like just specific quests or stuff like this. I feel like it's something that could have been better designed and just more, I don't want to say accessible, but just more appealing to the general population. Now, my next point is going to talk about Constellation. Obviously, this is something that, even though I feel would be really nice for it to be implemented, I don't think that the devs will, because implementing such a system that I'm going to suggest is probably going to negatively impact their sales and their revenues overall. But I just feel that for players, it would just give a lot more freedom and feel a little bit less required to spend money on the game if you want to play specific characters and don't really feel like rolling your account 50 times to adventure rank 7 to see what you get, So what I would personally suggest would be that if you have unspent Constellation like these, you could basically trade 2 of them, unused ones, of the like a 4-star, for example, to get 1 very specific constellation of another 4-star. So for example, I could trade 2 of these from a Kaya, for example, to get a constellation from Razor, for example, since they're both 4-star characters. You could technically do the same thing with 5-star characters if you had like 2 unused 5-star constellation that you want to, let's say they were Monas, both of them, and you just want to trade them for Diluc, for example. I think that it would be something interesting that the game allows you to do at a 2-for-1 ratio, just to really allow players that want to play specific characters to be able to do so without having to obviously pull these characters dupes up to 6 times if you want full Constellation, which can be a little bit troublesome. Now, my next improvement would be regarding some of the menu navigations in the game. If you want to buy, like, let's say I want to buy some mushrooms, you select them. Could I press enter to just buy some or like pop the window for quantity? No. So you have to press the purchase button. Then again, I want to complete the purchase. I'm pressing enter to purchase. It's not purchasing. So you have to go click the purchase button and then, you have to do it manually, which can be a little bit frustrating. There are also other menus like this that I feel should react to keyboard commands. Like for example, if you're in the detail view here, pressing escape to get out of there, it's not letting me. You have to go press the little X button, which can be a bit tedious considering that some of the other menus actually interact properly with the keyboard commands. Now this next point is a bit more minor, but it still annoys me because it basically causes MissInteractions, and it's basically some NPCs I feel are too close to other interactable things. Like in this case, I just want to leave the tavern, and very often I'm going to talk with this guy first, which can be pretty annoying when you're just like, I want to say in a hurry and you just want to leave. Now this tends to happen to me at a few different places. In this case, I clearly want to talk with the fish vendor, and instead it's offering me to talk with this side NPC, which I couldn't care less about. So you have to, like, if you know about it, like, you can obviously try to, avoid it and stuff. But very often I'm going to talk to her first, which is kind of tedious. Now, I have 3 other recommendations, and these are a slightly bigger recommendation that I feel could come at a later time in the game, but could still be very interesting for players. Now, the first one is obviously going to be around the co-op system. I think that the co-op was disappointing for a lot of players because it didn't really meet the player expectations. People felt too limited to playing co-op because it was only for bosses, and reward wise it wasn't that great either. So, and you couldn't really like feel satisfied to explore the world with your friends and just to progress together. So this whole aspect, obviously, I think it would be something that would be important for devs to balance and to implement, to improve. I feel that they already heard a lot about this system, so improvements. So we're going to move on to the next part already. Now, for the next system that I would really like to get are pets. As you can see, this little doggo here. I feel that having pets in the game could actually be pretty nice. Maybe not as big as these ones, but at least like smaller pets that can actually help loot some of the items on the ground, maybe. Because you will be doing a lot of looting. And just spamming that F button to loot like 5 or 6 artifacts that just drop on the ground, it is not that great in my opinion. I would have much preferred like a magnet looting type of feature. I think that pets could be a good way to further monetize the game through microtransaction, while also giving some value to players where looting is not as tedious as it is. Now, my last suggestion for the devs would be to implement a housing system. I think that this type of addition to the game would actually add a lot of value on multiple different type of appeals. The first one would be, well, you have your own little home, so it's kind of nice that you can just buy that, build it, gather some materials to like improve it. I feel that it would be add a lot of like, it could also be a quest system around this whole thing, which would be pretty cool. I think that it would also be nice to be able to decorate the interior, the outside as well, to have some farm plots for specific types of essential materials that you're looking for, whether it's like wolf hooks or stuff like this. I think it would be pretty interesting. And also with just the player community, it would be nice to just showcase and compare houses and how people decorate their stuff. And I think overall it would just add a very nice appealing feature, both to generate materials, to provide content, quests, and also be a Mora or any other type of material async for longer periods. Alright, so this pretty much recaps everything that I've been thinking on improvements and missing features and stuff on the game. Obviously there's a ton of other things that they could do. Personally, I just feel that they really need to stop focusing around new characters, even though they are pretty cool looking and all. I feel it's really not it should not be a priority at all. Even the new zone would definitely be very nice, but I feel that the guild system should be the #1 priority because the social aspect of the game is probably what's the most lackluster in my opinion. I feel it could have had a really big layer of importance to the game. Obviously, some of the other quality of lives could also be very interesting additions. So hopefully they're going to work on that kind of stuff for later on. Definitely, I'm looking forward to see what they're going to do with Genshin Impact in the coming months. I hope that you guys will enjoy as well. Alright guys, thank you all for watching this video. I know it was a bit different, it was not a guide, but I still hope that you guys enjoyed, and if you did, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. You can also join our Discord if you would like to. It is very much appreciated when you do. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Take care guys.